Welcome to Keep It Sunny's 31 Days of Halloween.
Today we have some spooky, tasty treats for you guys, and a festive Halloween craft. First up, we're making some Halloween whoopie pies. These whoopie pies are fluffy and sweet, with really festive Halloween colors. We're going to need 2 batches of ingredients for this recipe. We're going to need 1 for the whoopie pie batter and 1 for the filling. For the whoopie pie chocolate batter, we're going to need 1 cup of shortening, 1 cup of sugar, 2 egg yolks, 1 cup of sour milk. We'll be making our own in this case, which is going to be 1 cup of milk and 1 tablespoon of vinegar. We'll also need 2 cups of flour, 4 tablespoons of cocoa, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. For the filling, we're going to need 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, 2 egg whites, half a cup of shortening, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a pinch of salt. To start off by making our sour milk, we're going to take 1 cup of milk and we're going to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar to that. Give it a stir and let it sit for at least 5 minutes before you use it. Now we're going to take a large mixing bowl and a small dish to separate our eggs. We're going to crack the eggs and put the egg whites into the small bowl and the egg yolks into our mixing bowl. And make sure to pick out any eggshells if you drop them in like I did. Next, we're going to take our 1 cup of sour milk and add it to our mixture. Then we'll be adding our 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of sugar, and 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And our last ingredient is going to be half a cup of shortening. Now we're going to put it in our mixer and turn it on a high speed and blend it all together. Gonna make sure we want to stir around and scrape it off the sides to make sure that the batter is completely mixed and we don't have any clumps lying around. Now that the batter is fully mixed together, we're going to add some black food coloring to make these extra dark and spooky. I like to be generous with the food coloring. Now we're just going to blend it all together. It's still not as dark as I want it. It's kind of like a light gray, so let's go ahead and add some more food coloring. Yes, that looks a lot better. Okay, now that our batter is done, we're going to go ahead and get out a non-stick pan and spray it with some Pam cooking spray. Now we're going to scoop out some of our batter and we're going to put it into small little blobs onto our non-stick pan. You don't want these to be too big because the whoopie pies are going to fluff up and spread out, so they're going to be a lot bigger than they look right now. Okay, now they're going to go into the oven. We're going to bake them on 350 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. This mixture, if separated correctly, will give you about 24 individual whoopie pie halves or 12 whole whoopie pies. Okay, our first batch is out of the oven. We're just going to go ahead and lift them off the pan and put them on a plate to cool. Now, whoopie pies can stick together when they're still warm, so don't pile them up like I'm doing right now because some of them did stick together and crumbled. It's best to leave them all flat on a plate. Now we're just going to repeat the process again until we run out of batter. Into the oven it goes. Who's going to eat it? Nobody knows. Okay, now that all our whoopie pies are done, I'm going to kind of match them up because some come out different shapes and sizes. I want to find all the matching little pairs. I have to find the whoopie pie's soulmates. Okay, there are our matching ones. Now we're going to work on the filling. So we're going to take a small glass mixing bowl, and those egg whites that we saved, now we're going to add them to this mixture. And we're going to beat these on a high speed until they are very fluffy and stiff. Now that they're nice and fluffy, we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of confectionery sugar, half a cup of shortening, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a pinch of salt. Now we're going to beat this mixture together until it's a nice fluffy icing. Okay, now our icing is done. Now I'm going to put half of the icing in a separate bowl and add some neon green food coloring to it. And then the other half of the mixture, I'm going to go ahead and add some neon orange food coloring to that. Now I'm going to take an icing bag with a decorative tip, and I'm going to fill the icing bag so that half of the icing bag is filled with orange and half is filled with green. So when you squeeze it out, you kind of get like this mixed swirl look to it. So I've left my icing out a little bit too long. It's a little too warm in our house, so the icing is starting to kind of melt a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the fridge for about 30 minutes to let it kind of harden up again. Okay, our icing is nice and firm again, and now I'm just going to decorate the whoopie pies with it. Just squeeze it on and then put the little lid on top. And there you have it. That is our Halloween whoopie pies. It's a delicious treat all of your ghouls and goblins are sure to love. So next up, we're going to be making this easy Halloween picture frame. The supplies you're going to need for this project are going to be a picture frame, some acrylic paint of your choice. I chose black and purple, but you could also do orange, green, red, any Halloween colors that you want. You're going to need a hot glue gun, some glue sticks, 2 little skeleton men that I got from the Dollar Tree, some Halloween cobwebs, Halloween LED lights also from the Dollar Tree, some glitter, some stick-on gemstones, You will also need a piece of cardstock and some craft glue and a sponge. You can go ahead and take a picture frame. It can be any size that you want. Mine, I think this one was an 11 by 13 size picture frame. We're going to be making it look almost like a shadow box. So I went ahead and just removed the glass because we won't be needing that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the back off the picture frame because we're going to be painting that. And I'm just going to squirt some onto the canvas and then sponge it around with my little sponge. I want it to look like kind of like a night sky. Now that the back of the frame is completely covered, I'm going to go ahead and set that aside to dry. Now for this project, I'm going to be making my own glitter letters, but if you wanted to instead, you could purchase glitter letters, or you could purchase glitter paper and cut out the letters yourself. I couldn't find any glitter paper in the color that I wanted, so this is why I had to make my own. So I'm just going to write Happy Halloween in block letters on my cardstock, and then I'm going to cut that out. Now that I have my letters all cut out, I'm going to take my glue sticks, and I'm actually going to slice up the glue sticks. I'm going to be cutting them in little 1/2-inch bits, because I'm going to be using these to glue onto the back of the letters to make them look like they're raised off of the picture frame. I'm going to need 2 for each letter, so I'm going to need 28 of these little bits of glue sticks. Then I'm just going to go ahead and flip my letters over and take my hot glue gun and glue these little glue stick bits to the back of my letters. Okay, now I have my little glue sticks on the back of my letters, and it kind of gives me a nice little handle to hold them to. Now I'm going to be putting a little bit of black paint onto my work surface, and a little bit of craft glue I'm going to mix in there. This is just to help the glitter stick a little bit better than just the paint would, and it'll keep them from drying too quickly. So just mix those two together, and then I'm going to go ahead and just sponge it onto my letters. Now, while the letters are still wet, you're going to want to take your glitter and sprinkle it . And those are my Happy Halloween letters. Now I'm going to get out the back of my picture frame now that it's fully dry. I'm going to place it back into its frame. Now I'm going to lay my letters on top and see where I want them to be. Once I've decided, I'm just going to apply a little hot glue to the little glue stick nub that we glued on there, and then just stand them up on the back of the picture frame. Having the letters raised gives it a good three-dimensional look. Okay, now that I have all my letters glued on, now we're going to take our LED lights. And these come with little bats on them, but I'm actually going to take the bats off because I didn't really want them on this particular project. I just kind of want the little points of light. So I'm just going to easily remove them. They pop right off. Now, this little box on top, that's the battery pack, we're going to be gluing that on top of the picture frame. It's really visible now, but we're going to be covering that up later on. Just put some hot glue on there and stick it right on top. Now, you're going to take the string of your LED lights, and you're going to want to kind of tuck it up under the picture frame. There's going to be a little extra gap there because you don't have the glass in there. Just going to kind of tuck it up in there and apply a small dab of glue to secure it. I'm just going to keep doing that and working the lights around the frame. And there we go. It is looking spooky already, but we are not done. We've got our little skeleton men to add. I want them kind of just like sitting on the bottom of the frame, kind of just hanging out down there. So I'm just going to apply some glue to the back of the skeletons and just stick them right on the bottom. I kind of want it to look like they're like sitting on the frame. Okay, now I decided that the frame needed a little more glitz. So I'm going to take these stick-on gemstones and just stick them kind of in random little places around the frame. Now I'm going to take the cobwebs, tear off a little piece, and I'm going to hook it over top of the battery pack. This is going to help conceal the battery pack and give it a nice hook for us to wrap our cobwebs onto. I'm going to wrap it around one corner, then bring it over to the other corner, and then down around the third corner. Now you can just pull at it and adjust it to make it a little more natural looking. And there you go. That is your Happy Halloween picture frame. So that's all we have for you today, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to join us tomorrow for some more Halloween fun. If you want extra content from us, you can check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter in the description below. God loves you. Happy Halloween.
Keep it creepy.